Hey, good afternoon. It's been a long time since we spoke. Let's go back to talking. Is it politics? I don't know. I want to talk about two things. One is I heard yesterday that I read that the mayor, the executive mayor of Johannesburg, MASHABA, he made a public utterance that they're making some development there, and he says that development will never have church sites and all that. But he made a statement there. He says, in my tenure as a minister, as a mayor, I've had more problems with churches than with shebins. That sounds like a very innocent statement, but it's filled with hate. That's hate speech. It's filled with a lot of hate because it's informing public opinion on church. It's easy for these folk to drag Christians to courts and charge them with hate speech, but they should be held accountable. Everybody in public office must be held accountable. And I'm saying to you now, a hostile view on another's belief constitutes hate speech. And I'm of the opinion that if you are going to start pursuing what church people say about other interest groups, especially government officials and government office bearers, they need to be discreet about what they say about us. Because the truth matter is that fuels, if you look at the universal definition of hate speech, it fuels prejudice. It fuels and it feeds negative perceptions about a particular group of people. If you study Africa, if you study the genocide in Rwanda, if you study anywhere else where there was religious war or ethnic war, it starts with very inflammatory small statements. But it's a build-up because the enemy knows what he's doing. Now, I'm saying, shouldn't we hold government officials like XALUVA and MASHABA accountable, considering the offices that they occupy? Shouldn't we hold them accountable to maintaining the integrity of the Constitution? The Constitution recognizes freedom of association, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, freedom of thought. And shouldn't people, I'm getting to my point, shouldn't public office bearers, people who have put in government, shouldn't they be upholders of the Constitution? MASHABA has stepped into that office not as a Christian, as a Muslim, or as an atheist, as an animist. He is mayor to all. When he fuels such prejudice against a particular religious or cultural group, that makes him dangerous in that position, because basically he is using his official position to fuel negative perceptions about a particular group of people. That statement is inflammatory, and that statement should not be tolerated, because that statement is very anti our religion. Because right now, a man of his caliber should be held accountable, because once he makes a statement such as that, he must be able to prove statistically, one, what trouble is he, can he define the kind of trouble he's referring to? Two, and based on that definition, can he come with statistics that regarding that particular aspect of governance, churches create more problems than shebins? These are innocent statements that collectively are going to raise a very anti-Christian move in this nation. You take it lightly. You forgo an opportunity to defend your faith. The Constitution gives you power to defend what you believe in, because we have a constitutional right to practice our belief. Now, when a public office bearer like that comes with such a statement, shouldn't he be held accountable? Can you imagine how much pandemonium there'd be in South Africa if MASHABA made such an inflammatory statement about Muslims? If MASHABA said Muslims give him more problems than shebins, the Muslims who know their rights, who are less than 1% of the population, would have taken him to court, whereas 83% of the Christian population is paralyzed. Let me tell you why they are paralyzed. I have warned against this, and people said I was non-progressive. Churches should not take government's money. Did I hear myself? Yes. I've worked for government. And I can give you the names of churches now. Big churches. Some of those guys have been recently drafted into these stupid peer review structures. And let me tell you what they don't understand. Government never puts money where it is not in the interest of a government agenda. The government can never give church money in the interest of Christian beliefs. No, that's not how governments work. And I'm not even saying it's wrong. But in government, you talk about a mandate. There is a political mandate from which flows all strategic objectives and programs and pursuits. And government will never let government or the state will never let any government department put money where that money was not furthering the agenda of government. Now let me tell you why all these big preachers are quiet. Some of them, they've just been highly compromised because they are deep. A lot of them are public benefit organizations. I hope you know the difference between not-for-profit and public benefit organization. And there's tax exemption there. There's allocation of resources there because they are doing work that should be done by government to an extent greater than non-governmental organizations. I have warned, don't take government money. I've worked for government. I was a senior government official. We would never put money where it was not furthering a government agenda. Now, these pastors of these mega structures and famous organizations, their pockets are overflowing with government money. I never said corrupt money because whatever money government gives you, in the purest intent, it will corrupt you as a man of God. Did I hear myself? Yes. Let's go back to the 3rd or 4th century when Emperor Constantine gave the church non-governmental status and started pastoring church. He who buys the pipe calls the tune. Government will never give you money that does not compromise you. We need to start practicing what we preach. We preachers, you're the greatest hypocrites. You are telling people, hey, bring your tithes, bring your money, God will bless you. Why don't you believe God to bless you without Mammon's money? You have in your church coffers the allocations by government. You have been highly compromised, and you can never speak against your masters. That is why XALUVA insults you and MASHABA insults you. The insults increase, and you are paralyzed there because the first thing government will do when they're not happy with you is withdraw their funding. A lot of these mega structures, they've been built on government subsidies. A lot of you think that these preachers who have famous halls that they hire out to funerals, you think they are kind. They have been allocated government money. And they cannot say no to their masters. And when their masters turn on their faith, they are paralyzed by the love of money to speak up. I am saying, if you're listening to me and you have never received a cent from government, do not. There are a lot of agencies. There are a lot of non-governmental agencies. There are a lot of corporates. There are a lot of them who have social responsibility funds. If you can't write proposals and get money from them, stay away from government money. It's going to corrupt you. You're going to be paralyzed into pursuing government agenda. That's why a lot of preachers right now are ashamed of opening the Bible and declaring the ways of God. They would rather declare a moral generation, whatever, RDP, whatever. That they are corrupting themselves. Stay away from government money and you'll never be the cowards you are. Let me tell you this before I close off. Any view on God is a view of God. Now, the man who says there is God and the man who says there is no God both have something in common. They have a view of God, and that falls within the definition of philosophy. That falls within the definition of religion. That falls within the definition of your cultural belief. Now, we should be very careful that